energy, lots of love, so that you can bring yourself. The divine weekly readings and tools to connect. So excited to see you. And I see that I've got some people that have joined already. So thank you so much. It's always so much easier to do these kinds of shows when you actually have people that are connecting and there. It's always really good energy. So hoping everyone is doing really, really well. Before I kind of dive in, I just want to give you guys a reminder. Anybody who wants to be a part of the Q&A at the end of our session, where basically I'm going to give us a couple of questions and sort of card directions and how to make it work for you, and you want to be live on there with me, send your information right now to kayaniproductions@gmail.com. Send your name and state that you want to go on with your card pull, and Fabulous John is going to get you all set up for that. So really would be excited for people to come on live and be able to show me your card. I'm really excited about kind of helping you to be able to discover what your own messages are as they come through. So without further ado, let's dive on into our word of the week. So I'm going to close my eyes and go within, tell you what I see and feel with the word of the week, and I will be right back. Change. The word of the week is change. So we are all in a very much a transformative energy right now. Any of us who have been through Shit Show 2020 and then again Shit Show 2021, which was its own special show, understand that the whole world is in a state of flux and in a state of change. But this week, what I'm hearing in particular is it's all about embracing the change to make it work for you. So one of the things that I'm very famous in saying all the time is the only constant in life truly is change. Now, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of chaos, but I have one parent who is all over the map and is always looking for change. And I have another parent who is, very stuck in the mud and nothing can change. Everything is the same. This parent has basically lived in the same 50-kilometer radius for her entire life. So, there's really this energy that change is bad. It's fearful. We need to be afraid of it because we need to, make sure that everything is exactly the same. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. It's unrealistic. First of all, we are all here, especially this week. We're all here to to change and grow. We're ever evolving. And so I feel like the word of the week coming through today is really to prepare us for the fact that we've got some more change that's going to be coming through. I'm hearing globally, some more shifting and some more changing that's happening, and then bringing it into sort of your world and the individual environment that you're in. Each of us is being invited to look at our lives and say, when it comes to this change, I know that change is here. It's inevitable. I'm surrendering to that fact. And I'm going to say, instead of getting anxious about, oh my God, what's leaving my life? What's shifting? What do I need to be prepared for? That creates anxiety. Change doesn't need to create anxiety. Let's change how we view change. Go into the space of, okay, change is inevitable. It's happening. How can I make it work for me this week? I want you, here's the challenge. I want you this week to really look at all of the different, I want to say, areas of your life. So work life, love life, home life, friendships, community, inner world life. And I want you to look at what you've been doing for a really long time in that aspect of your life, and actively make a choice to tweak it a little bit. Make a choice to do a bit of a change, to create a bit of a change. You don't have to upset the apple cart and sort of reinvent the wheel necessarily, unless that's what you're called to do. But I do feel like it's important for us to be active in making that, taking change by the horns and saying, I greet you, change, I see you, and I'm going to make you work for me. I'm going to bring you into the fold. Instead of keeping you at arm's length, I'm going to bring you into the fold, and I'm going to be excited about it. Not everybody is fearful of change. A lot of people really embrace it and enjoy it and want to be all in for it. And if you're one of these people, what I'm feeling this week is definitely take the challenge and look at, do a review of these areas in your life and what does need to be changed or shifted up. It can be as simple as tweaking something in your environment, right down to, okay, I'm doing, silent April. I almost said silent March because we're still in March, but I'm going to do silent April and, find ways to speak only when it's absolutely necessary. And, I'm going to go within. Or maybe you are hermiting a little bit more, and the change that you're making is to go out a little bit more. I mean, the change can be anything. It literally can be anything. So take that challenge, and I want to say, open your heart to what this change can provide, to what this change can enhance in your life, and then be very active and intentional about taking steps towards that. Again, it can be small, it can be little. I'm going to say, don't bite off more than you can chew. This isn't a challenge to stress us out. We've got enough going on our plates right now. As I said, we are in this energy of change where there's, constantly something else coming up where we don't really know. It's like we're in the aftershocks of the earthquake, right? We never know when the aftershock is going to come. And so it's kind of hard to build when the aftershocks are still as intense. So, taking little bits, little bites and working with that. I'm also hearing, and we'll see what the cards have to say, but I'm also hearing that this week, when we're talking about the word change, it's also really about embracing it. So I want to say, learn to love it. If you tune into the word change, so you close your eyes, connect with your breath. Let's just do that right now. Connect with your breath. Release whatever's going on, kind of get into your body. And then I want you to think or speak the word change and notice what comes up when you're saying the word. Maybe you get excitement. Maybe there's butterflies in your stomach. Maybe you get a rock in your gut. Maybe the change, all of a sudden, you're like, you got chills and I can't breathe. Pay attention to that. I feel like your body is letting you know when you're tapping into that word change. There's something here that I need to work on. There's something here that I need to work through, or maybe there's something I need to release or shift about the way I am viewing the word change. I'm going to say to you, yes, words are powerful. Words give the word meaning. You give the word, the way you say the word is what gives it its power and its weight. So if you're saying the word change and right away you're coming up and your body's constricting, you want to look at that and say, well, what is it about change that is causing this constriction? What is it that I am afraid of when it comes to this change? What am I afraid of losing? And that's always what it is when it comes to the fearfulness of change. It's being attached, overly attached to something, that we're afraid that that change and that shift is going to disrupt the apple cart, right? Or to take something away from us that we have grown accustomed to, grown attached to, perhaps grown to depend on or lean on. So pay attention to how that word feels in your body, because that is a telltale sign. And if you do have some kind of, I want to say, an uncomfortable reaction to it, use that challenge and say, okay, I'm going to make a shift, even if it's a tiny shift, because that is me taking change by the horns and saying, I'm not going to let this fear win me over. I acknowledge the fear, and I'm also going to move through it rather than shy away from it and pull back and constrict. We need to be out. We need to be free. It's liberation. It's liberation is our goal ultimately. So use change to liberate you this week. Okay. Shifting to the card pull. John, I think I asked you to remind me about something and I forget now what it is, which is why I need you to remind me.
You still need me to remind you when you start rattling off questions that you want to ask yourself later. But you haven't asked any questions yet.
That's right. Okay. So for those of you, I made an announcement at the beginning of the video, but for those of you who have joined sort of in between, if you want to participate in the Q&A towards the end of the segment, send your information to kayaneproductions@gmail.com. It's on the screen. Just let John know that you would like to go live. I would love to have some people live so that I can see your card pulls so that we can kind of talk you through it. So just want to give you a heads up about that. And it's on the screen, send away, because, technology is awesome when it works. Oh, there's our card. Technology is awesome when it works, but, there's delay. And sometimes there's funky stuff that goes on. So we need a little time to get that sorted out. So we are pulling from Cathy McClelland's The Star Tarot. And I don't know if you could see that as I was shuffling, but the card just flew right out. So our card today is Four of Pentacles. What a gorgeous card. Check this out. So any of you starseeds that are watching it this week, we've got this beautiful swan. And for me, I always talk about starseeds. We're in the world, but not of it. I always use the story of the ugly duckling when I'm talking about starseeds and starseed energy. It's, I'm not a duckling at all. I've always, I've been a swan living among the ducks. And so I'm just feeling, as I'm seeing this swan, there's some peace to, I want to say, connecting to your identity. There's peace to accepting exactly who you are at your core. That's where you get the peace. We find a lot of struggle. All of us find struggle when we are trying to be all things to all people. We lose our peace when we are not comfortable and grounded or centered in our core of, I'm okay with who I am. And if you're going through a phase where you're not necessarily okay with who you are right now, that's okay too. Acknowledge it and say, you know what, at my core, I have the ability to be the swan, and that's how I'm going to find my peace. So the general message and the general reading, especially connected to change here, we've got a 4, and 4 is all about foundation. It's laying a foundation. Perhaps it's creating a new foundation with the 4 of Pentacles. And Pentacle energy is all about the realm of the physical, the material. When I look at this card, I always think manifestation. I think about, what is it that I am trying to co-create with the universe right now? What are my needs? What are my, what resources do I need to be able to move forward into this change that we are embracing at this time? And as I'm thinking about those resources that I need, I'm checking it with the dream team. I'm checking it with the universe, and I'm saying, I really want my thoughts to become things, tangible experiences, items, people, experiences in my life and in my world. I need to make sure that what I'm asking for is very clear, concise, and specific to what I'm looking for. And speaking of change, and we were talking about the dynamic of fear, if you're trying to manifest something in your life and manifest it for you, and you got a little bit of fear popping up, like, okay, I want this new car and it's going to be a beautiful red, a beautiful cherry red color. And I want the extra special, I don't know, highfalutin package that has all the bells and whistles in it. And gosh, it's going to feel so great to drive in it. And you're visioning this, right? You're telling the universe, this is what I want. And you're envisioning it. And then all of a sudden, as you're envisioning yourself driving along the highway, you get this whoom of fear as you're doing the visual. And you're like, oh, but do you really think this is realistic? Like, you're not going to be able to achieve this. That car is like, $60,000. Like, who do you think you're kidding? Or you get a shift in, this is not this is a want. This is not a need. I don't deserve, or I don't need this. It's a want. So I don't need the want. I'm going to put that to the side, but you really want it. You're denying yourself, right? So change up how you are manifesting, how you are connecting to what it is that you desire. Peeps, manifestation is all about how we are feeling into our desire, how we are feeling into our ask, and feeling it as though it is in our now. If you're feeling it and you got all this ego voice, self-doubt, the yippee yip, and it's your ego voice, but it might be someone else's voice in your head as well that's creeping up. What's going to happen is the universe is going to hear what you're connecting to, feel what you're connecting to, see what you're connecting to, and it's going to give you more experiences to show you where you need to shift how you're manifesting. So you're going to get half of what you're looking for, or 3/4 of what you're looking for. You want the whole enchilada. We need the whole hog here, right? So really, I feel like this message and this card this week is giving us all the ability to embrace change by connecting to how we are manifesting what it is that we desire. And if you look at this card here, so I'm trying to get it without glare. There's a beautiful sunshine here. You're looking into, it's almost like a frame. It's like a picture frame, a stone picture frame. And you're looking through this portal of what can be. And on the outside of the picture frame is nighttime. So I feel like there's also an energy here of you're looking into the future. So lay foundation for the future, lay foundation for your peace and your ease. And it's all connected to identity from the perspective of, what do I feel I desire and deserve? Where is the fear of change or the fear of asking coming from? How is that stopping me from smooth sailing? Right? So I feel like the message this week, in a big way, connected to the change in our word of the week, is about manifesting. We ask the question, how can we make the change work for us? By clearing up how we are choosing to manifest our desires. And no desire is too big or too small. You just want to understand that we do live in a sort of a third dimensional energy where time kind of exists in our realm. It doesn't exist in other realms, and we can play around as we are multidimensional beings, and we're, tapping into a higher dimension and a higher energy and frequency. We can play around with that time. But when you are trying to manifest, when you are bringing into your life those things that you really want in the physical, it's important that you understand that there are things that need to happen. Time does play a part. So release the how and the when, and understand that you're establishing a foundation for how you can successfully, continuously manifest what you're looking for, and do that in a way that serves you without bringing the anxiety about, oh my God, what I asked for isn't coming. And so maybe I'm not worthy and deserving of it, or maybe I'm supposed to be looking for something else instead. Let all of that go. Change the way you're manifesting. That's how you can embrace change. All right. So for our oracle card today, for our, I want to say, our complimentary message to our word of the week and to our Four of Pentacles, let's see what we got. We're pulling from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck from Colette and Reid. I'm excited. Be spirit. Sweet results await. So I feel very strongly that this is a message, a beautiful complimentary message, because bees are worker bees, right? They work, they produce. So it's very tied to the energy of the four, the foundation, the energy that we put into establishing a foundation. It takes work. The bee spirit is saying the work that you're putting into what you're manifesting this week will come to fruition, and it's going to bring sweet results, right? We've got sweet results await. I'm also hearing the message that it's important for each of us this week in relation to how we contribute to the world. So I want to say to you, this is work, this is career, but this is also sort of, I want to say for those of you out there who are retired, lucky guys, lucky gals, when you're retired, it's how you're contributing out into the world. Maybe you do a lot of meditation work. Maybe you do a lot of volunteerism. Maybe you take care of your grandkids, that kind of thing. So however you show up in the world, you want to make sure that you are enjoying the fruits of your labor, that it's not always about the daily grind, and it's not always about somebody else's needs above your own. I hear that's a really important message that definitely a few of you need to hear. It's about understanding that the work that I put in, I'm putting it in so that I can receive this deliciousness. And I'm also hearing that honey is a great natural immunity booster, right? So an immune booster. And it also, like when people are allergic to different things, taking honey helps to alleviate a lot of those allergies. Well, what are we allergic to in the world right now? Like, I'm not talking about the physical allergies. I'm talking about our spirit, our soul, energetically. What are we allergic to? What are we having allergic reactions to? In many cases, we're having allergic reactions to the uncomfortable, the difficult, the forced upon us change that is transpiring in the world. And I'm going to say to you from a spiritual perspective and a higher realm perspective, what it is that is transpiring right now needs to happen in order for all of us to wake up and say, this is not the kind of world that we want to live in and that we want to build, that we want to support. We want to support a world where everybody's work affords them the ability to enjoy the sweet results. And so I feel like this is coming through to say the sweetness, the joy, reaping the rewards for the job well done is important to immunizing yourself or getting rid of the, I want to say the antihistamine, right? The getting rid of the histamine that causes the body to swell, causes your panic, causes your anxiety, causes survival mode, brings up a lot of fear in the physical body as well as the emotional body and everything in between. That's going to be the remedy. That's the antihistamine to all of the stuff that's going on right now. And this is not to say that we need to spiritually bypass or to ignore what is right in front of us. It's the exact opposite. It's recognizing this needs to shift. This needs to change. This is not working. It doesn't suit the vision of where I choose to be or where I choose to go in my life. And so I'm going to bring a little more sweetness and joy into my dynamic. I'm going to bring that sweetness and joy into anyone that I encounter in order to be able to rise up. So whatever it is I'm feeling called to do in order to make some shift and some change, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it sweetly. I'm going to do it in a way that I enjoy the experience of that offering, that contribution to the world. So when we're talking about work, bringing more joy into your workspace, it can be, and let's face it, a lot of us were in situations where we're not really happy with what's going on. I see a lot of clients who are kind of like, oh, the job pays the bills, but I'd rather be doing something else, all things being equal. Well, bring a little bit of joy, be the worker bee, and take advantage of the honey that you are producing as well. feel that that's a really important message for all of us. I love these cards. Okay. I opened the jar and a feather fell out. So apparently
Everything jumping out at you today.
yes, we are full on in jumping mode. And John, that basically means that when the stuff flies out at us, our dream teams really are wanting to make sure that we're getting a specific message. So I love that. And you guys are going to just die when you see this. So transformation. And transformation, folks, is what? Change, shifting. So our word of the week is change. And our feather message is transformation. So understanding that the change is happening globally, the change is happening nationally, the change is happening community-wise, and the change is happening individually because we are in a transformative energy. And transformative change is exciting. Transformative change is passion. Transformative change allows us to connect to our soul spaces. So this week, I'm feeling like, even though we've talked about the message a lot and the change and the transformation, I just gave you kind of a challenge that we all need to tap into. It's also about understanding that, again, this is happening. This is what we're in. We can't change that fact. It is what it is. You can resist it as long as you want. That's a choice that you can make. And just understand that as soon as you stop resisting, it's still going to be there. Wherever I go, there I am. So you want to embrace this transformation, understanding that this transformation is happening so that each of us connects to our soul space and that we express that soul space out in the world. It doesn't have to be complicated. We're not talking about, I got to know my purpose right now. No, we're just talking about, okay, things are shifting. How do I want to be a part of that shift? How do I want to make it work for me? Because the change that's happening outside of me is also happening within. The change that is happening within me is also happening without on a larger scale. The microcosm, the macrocosm, it's all coming together full circle. It's also on a red feather. And I often talk about sort of root chakra and things like that when connected to our root chakra. What I'm seeing here with this is I was talking to you earlier about, anxiety and, the bee sting or having the swelling or a reaction, right? A visceral reaction, a body physical reaction to things that are poisonous or toxic to us or uncomfortable for us. Survival mode, right? When we talk about root chakra, it's I am safe, I am secure, I not only survive, I thrive. And that's the transformation we're looking for, is out of survival mode and into safety, into I feel safe and secure enough to live my life, take some risks and transform my life to allow it to be what I choose for it to be. Even when all the other stuff is going on around me, what is it that I'm choosing to be? So, okay, we're going to shift now into our Q&A, and I'm going to I got my piece of paper here because the last couple of weeks, and this is how I work, folks. It's just, I tune in, I channel it, and once I've sort of channeled it, it's gone and I can't retain it. Even though I just said it 3 seconds ago, it's gone. So I'm going to write it down this week. And I've got John as my backup, who's also writing down what I'm going to say. So,
no, I can't read my own handwriting. So
and we're really in trouble. We are really in trouble. So maybe our audience can actually keep us on track too, which would be fabulous. So,
we have a question and then we have a card pull.
Okay, well that's perfect. So hang on, because I want to create the card pull intentions. And that's what we're going to work from. So just give me a second to kind of channel in and see how we can take this general reading, and you guys grab your card decks and we're going to make it a little more palatable, so how you can make it work for you and receive your own personal message for your own individual experience this week. So give me a second here. Tuning in.
And while she is pulling, if you want to come on live, please email me at keoniproductions.com and state that you want to come on live. If you don't, still feel free to put in your comment or questions in the chat, and we will get to as many of them as possible.
So the first card pull that we are going to do today is what card, what the energy of the card, what card is going to support me in creating and embracing the change that is showing up in my life right now. And the second card pull, we'll do two. What do I need to know about how this change is going to affect me? Or a simpler way of saying this is, what is this change that I am embracing going to, what is the outcome going to be in my life this week specifically? So what am I going to see? What am I going to feel? What am I going to experience? What is the sort of the final outcome that I'm going to experience as a result of this change? So let me just write that down. Final outcome due to change. All right. Awesome. Thank you for your patience. Okay. So grab your tarot decks. And John, you said that you've already got some people that are lined up.
I've got a question and I've got a card pull. I don't know if it's effect because it was done early. I don't know how that works, but you're the expert.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I believe that that our dream teams always give us exactly what it is that we need. So even though the card pull was done, sooner, it's going to make sense to that person. So I'm just going to pull a couple of quick cards for myself here, talk about that so that we can all kind of get in the energy of that, and then we'll take the questions. So for my question one, how can I create and embrace that change, or what energy is going to support me? I got 6 of Pentacles. So interesting that we got the 4 of Pentacles in the general reading. And for me personally, now I've got 6 of Pentacles. This is a card of reinvestment. So I feel like for me, the change that's coming, the change that is sort of brewing in my life, and there's a lot of it, by the way, this week, I feel it. So this message makes a lot of sense for me. 6 of Pentacles is telling me that there's going to be abundance, but I need to reinvest. And I need to really pay attention to what it is that I'm reinvesting in. So it's not throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. It's more about recognizing that what I'm reinvesting, my time, my energy, my finances, my ideas, my space, whatever it is, it needs to be in alignment with where it is that I'm going. And in this card, if you notice, we've got a beautiful buffalo. This is like buffalo calf woman and a beautiful buffalo. And we think about the buffalo, in the indigenous traditions, the buffalo was so revered, and they used every single part of that buffalo. Nothing went to waste. And I feel like that's an important message for me looking at this card in this deck, because not every card deck is the same. It has similar themes, but different imagery. So the imagery on this deck is evoking that in me, that it's about paying attention to what I'm investing in, but also not letting anything go to waste. And that's why I'm being more, I want to say, a little more specific in what I need to pay attention to what I'm investing in. Because again, if I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, that's not, that's a waste. It's a waste of energy. That's a waste of what it is that I'm bringing into the material and into the physical. And then what is the final outcome due to the change in the energy? I got the devil. And the devil is that, I want to say, it's sort of that spiritual rebellion. It's that spiritual selfishness. This is shadow work. This is self-imprisonment. This is patterns and cycles that I want to say, sometimes it's addictive. And it's interesting that I've got a 6, which is balance, harmony, and alignment. And this is indicating, there's not a lot of balance going on. Where am I out of balance? So what is the final outcome for me? The final outcome for me is getting out of that, I want to say, that patterning and cycling that sometimes I can get into. It's sort of an addictive, or I'm going to say obsessive. And let me tell you, folks, this brain gets obsessive about stuff. I'm very in my head about things. So I talk of what I know. And so this is a message for me that the final outcome is going to be that I'm able to break through this, to release the pattern and cycle, and to perhaps create a different cycle for myself. All right. So, John, bring somebody on so we can talk about their card.
We don't have a live, but we do have a question, and then we have a card pull.
Okay.
I will tell you the card pull first. It's from Reid, who was here last week. Thank you for being here again, Tri.
Yes.
He said he pulled his first card was a 3 of Cups, and the second card was 2 of Wands.
Excellent. So 3 of Cups, how can I create and embrace change, or how can I, use this energy? 3 of Cups is all about celebration. 3 of Cups it's kind of like the yay, I'm here, I'm having fun, and I want to celebrate it with others. I want to bring community in, but not just any community. This is your community, your peeps. So I feel like when you're addressing the change that is coming into your world this week, you really want to be looking at who you can share it with. I'm hearing for you that there's this real energy of, I want to say, of understanding that if change freaks you out a little bit, bring in somebody that you trust so that it's not as scary, or you don't have to do it alone. And I feel like that's what the 3 of Cups is coming in for you as a reminder is, how can you embrace it? You can embrace it by saying, well, everybody else is kind of going through their change. So let me invite in, let me share what, maybe what my fears are, or let me share what change is coming up. I'd love to celebrate it, or I'd love to get some advice or some camaraderie on, and maybe some ideas on how I can make this work for me. So don't be afraid to ask. What was the second card, John?
The second card was the 2 of Wands.
2 of Wands. So what is the final outcome sort of due to this change? It's a new direction. And I feel like with the 2 of Wands, there is the energy of, I'm choosing a direction that is actually going to give me a little more fire, a little more pep in my step, a little more, I want to say, energy towards the choices that I'm making. So 2s often in tarot kind of indicate that there is a change or a shift that's happening, or that there's a decision that needs to be made. What I'm hearing for you with this is the outcome is going to be that it's not like you're, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? It's more like, okay, I've made the choice and I'm fired up about the choice. And so you're looking out over the, okay, I've made my decision. Now I'm formulating the plan. Now it's time to decide how to take the step forward. So this week for you, I feel like there's celebrating some of the shifting and the changing that's coming up, inviting people in to give you some support while you are embracing that change. And then I feel that you're going to be making a choice, making a decision with that, and being able to move forward with confidence in that choice and that decision, knowing that, ooh, this change actually has given me a little more fuel to work with. I feel a little more energized. So good luck with that. That's kind of exciting. All right, who's next?
Then we have a question.
Okay.
You talked about setting realistic goals. What if I have trouble separating my wants from my needs?
Read it again to me one more time.
You talked earlier about setting realistic goals and visions. You also talked about knowing your wants from your needs. What if I have trouble separating my wants from my needs?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of us have that trouble. Society has sort of taught us that it's somehow wrong or bad, especially if you tend to be a spiritual person or really connected. It's wrong or bad to have any kind of desire. So I'm going to say to you, we can think about basic needs. I need fresh air to breathe, right? Or I need oxygen to breathe. I need water in order to survive. Needs are things that you literally cannot, I want to say, move forward in any true capacity and be able to thrive. So we're not talking about survival here. We're talking about, what do I need to thrive? Now, to use my analogy, as I was talking about the car, the red fancy schmancy car, which is so funny because I don't really care about cars, but there it is. It's a luxury item, right? So automatically you go to, well, it's a luxury item. It's definitely not a need. Well, let's talk about that. If you are a person who is in the process of coming out of, I want to say, whatever, we all have our own little closets that we're sort of coming out of, right? For me, there was a big psychic closet that I had to come out of years ago. And so coming out of, whatever closet you've been in for a while, it's recognizing, okay, it's not so much about the survival. Survival means, okay, I get a car that's in working order. It might not look pretty. It might not do this or that or the other thing. But it's a car that's in working order. Well, you may be at a different level in your life where you're saying, you know what? That doesn't cut it for me. Every time I get into this vehicle, I feel ashamed. Every time I get into this vehicle, I'm frustrated. Every time I get into this vehicle, something falls off on it. I'm embarrassed to have people come in. All of these things are ego, and we can go into, wax poetic into all of the, gratitude for what you have and blah, blah, blah. And that is important. But you want to look at the emotional needs. Would you feel better on a regular basis when every time you got into a vehicle, it was a pretty color? It doesn't have to be new, but maybe it's a pretty color. Maybe it's a truck instead of a car, because a truck is going to support you better. It's all in relation to, when we're talking about needs versus wants and sort of determining that shifts and changes as we shift and change. So there's the concept of the basic needs, and that's what we're taught as well. You should be happy with just the basic needs. That's all, yes, be grateful that you have fresh air, be grateful that you have water and that you have nourishment. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with also recognizing that for my soul growth, for my happiness, for my joy, I need a little more. I need a little extra. And of course, then it comes into okay, what are you willing to do for it? What are you willing to, what foundation are you laying in order to be able to support yourself, to be able to take that seeming want and turn it into a need? Or that's not the right way to say it. Taking that need and giving yourself permission to recognize that I'm seeing it as a want, but actually it is a need for my own happiness. Also, I'm hearing that something that you want to ask yourself when you're trying to determine wants versus needs, it's all about value. What do I value? Using the car as an analogy again, here's what I value in a car. I value in a car that I know when I turn the key, it's going to get me from A to B. And I value that there's a sunroof because I'm a sun girl and I don't want to feel like I'm driving around in a cave. And I value a vehicle that has great music, great tunes, and a little bit of technology so that I can do business while I'm in the car, because that's usually the only time that I have to myself to be able to answer emails or to answer texts and things like that, is when I'm in the car going from A to B. And the vanity side of myself wants something that is shiny or pretty. It doesn't have to be new, but newer is good, because new cars, pretty much, it's almost a guarantee. Nothing in life is a guarantee, but it's almost a guarantee that, when you have a new vehicle, you're not going to run into too many problems with repairs and reliability. So for me, a need in a car is not necessarily that I have the top of the line, but I need something that is going to look pretty and be functional and practical for me. So that's a need for me. For you in a car, it might be completely different. You might need a minivan, which to me is like death, because it says to me, soccer mom. No offense to soccer moms, it's just not me, right? And everybody else has these minivans and they're so practical. They're awesome. They fit a lot of people in. It's great for moving. And you would think, oh yeah, it's practical for me. But guess what? It's not a need for me, because it's not something I value. I place value in something else. So I feel like I'm kind of going around in circles to answer your question, but I feel like the key for you is giving yourself permission to be able to want things, and to also understand that sometimes what you deem as a want, because some society has dictated this as being, superlative or a luxury or a splurge, maybe it's not. Maybe that is what you need in order to thrive and to be able to, get out there and shine your light and do what it is that you need to do. The car thing for me, maybe for you, it's, you don't care about the car so much, but you love to travel. And so you want to make sure that, you drive a jalopy or you take public transportation, because all that money that you save now goes into, well, I own my plane, or, Maybe it's, I know equestrian stuff is really expensive. It's expensive to own a horse. Maybe that's where you value something. And so that's a need for you. You'll give up somewhere else, but it's a need for you. So I hope that makes some sense in the way that I'm sort of explaining it. There are many ways that I can sort of tap into that, but that's kind of what's coming through for me for you today in relation to your question. It's really about getting clear on, it's not about what the rest of the world deems as need and want. It's about what I need to thrive. And you will know when you tap into your intuition about that, you'll know, okay, I need there's 3 packages here for the car. One is all the bells and whistles, one is some of the bells and whistles, and one is the basic. For me to thrive, I need the medium. I don't need all the extra stuff. I'd love the extra stuff. It would be wonderful to have that. And certainly if it was handed to me on a silver platter, I would take it. But what I really need to thrive is that middle of the road. Hoping that makes some sense.
It made a lot of sense.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Since the question was from me.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
No more questions.
It is revealed.
We don't have any more questions or card pull for the Q&A section.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining this week. Had so much fun being here with you guys. For those of you who are catching it later, please enjoy and please, if you get a chance to join us live, I know it's kind of in the middle of the day. We're trying some different, sort of fun things out, but really happy to have you here, whether it's past, present, or future. Welcome. Just want to let everybody know about my Phoenix Rising event. This is a group event. It's coming up this Monday. So a week from today, Monday, March 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get a head start on what's coming up in April so that you have a roadmap for what's happening, this is my Phoenix Rising event, a monthly Oracle roadmap to achieving your desired outcomes. So we're going to do a beautiful card spread. We're going to get right into the energies of what is happening. We're doing a burning ceremony so you can release all the stuff that has transpired in March that hasn't served you, and free and clear and open for embracing April. There's also going to be an opportunity for a Q&A there. I do either a card pull or answer a question for you there. It's a great experience. Looking forward to seeing you guys all there. Take care. Thanks, John.